Back. I'm Wallace Allen on the case for truth and justice with the right information to help improve the situation. Boy, do we have things that we can have improvements on, certainly. Number one thing, folks, is attitude. Remember, we are in a civilized nation despite the fact that it does not seem to want to be. I'll say it again. We are a civilized nation. We are expected to take care of our orphans, our widows, our poor, our disabled, the folks who are not able to take care of themselves. We cannot do that if we simply feed the rich and rob the poor. And if you see that going on, then you're witnessing bullying. And if you're witnessing bullying, you need to say something, do something about it, holler, scream, look for help, and meanwhile, feed the hungry, provide for the shelterless, and honor the veterans. We're a civilized nation. Voting is proper. Voting is required. Voting is not an option. When you decide not to vote, that means you don't give a damn, and that's a vote for confusion and chaos. We have opportunity constantly. Opportunity is described by the obstacles that stand between us and the goals that we have set for ourselves in our future, our aspirations, that guarantee of equality that our wonderfully written Constitution promises. But that promise is an action that we have to fulfill. Don't be disappointed. Don't be disappointed when you see the obstacle. Don't be disappointed when you walk through the jungle and hear the lions roar. That's what they do. But your walk through the jungle is described by your sense of direction, by your sense of dedication, by your sense of focus. Some people want to follow the lion home. The purpose of the lion and the fool and the idiot hollering and screaming in our civilized society is so that you know who to avoid, not who to attract yourself to. The cult leaders cannot be cult leaders if they were not cult followers. In the streets, we say it another kind of way, but I'm not going to go there now because my mother may be listening. And she said all the time, Butch, there's a lot of ways to say what you want to say. And say, well, yeah, she says that to Butch because that's my alter ego that tends to don't really feel like impressing people with anything but the truth. Wallace has the goal of trying to convince, cajole, seduce, and bring you to a side based on manipulating minds and getting folks to agree. Butch doesn't require so much agreement. All he requires is a little space. But our space today is once again to reinforce the fact that we are in charge of our lives. We are in charge of doing for our community those things that need to be done. I am here to congratulate a portion of our community. I'm going to congratulate FEMA because they still are giving you one more day tomorrow, your last day, to apply for COVID-19 funeral assistance. I'm sure that there are some people in the government that wanted to shut that program down the day they heard about it. But there is such a thing as COVID-19 funeral assistance. FEMA will continue to provide that funeral assistance program until tomorrow, September 30th, to those who've lost loved ones due to the pandemic. Up to $9,000, maybe more, to help out with funeral expenses, inconvenience. None of that will help with the pain and sorrow. However, Monday through Friday, only Monday, however, tomorrow, between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time, give them a call, 844-684-6333. 844-684-6333. And you can begin that application process and you will be on time. And that's important because Timing is critical. It's not easy to be on time, but it is time for us to be on time for a change. For a change is imminent, and changes are taking place around us daily, whether we know about them or not. Our president is shutting down the news cycle, is shutting down the news providers. He's providing announcers of his plans, but that's not news. That's manipulation, that's cult. If you've been listening, you know that I advise our leaders to step forward, not that they are going to be successful, but that they put the president on notice that we are ready to dump Trump. We are ready to impeach and fire the pretender. And if we don't stand up and do it, we'll keep standing around and watching him do what he's doing to weaken our society, break down the foundation, get you used to seeing police in the streets, get you used to hearing idiotic statements and assuming that, well, these guys, he's just playing, he's not going to do that. We've got 8 months, 9 months of, listen, the baby's here. We see it, it's very clear. It's a little monster. It's not something that we want to take home to let our children grow up with. We need to deal with this monster now. Every day that we wait, we allow it to get stronger and Jim Jones us. So, folks, this is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. I am so happy to live in San Bernardino County. I'm so happy to live in Southern California. I'm so happy to talk to you because this is the nucleus of common sense. I think we've got a shot here, folks. I think we are in charge of maybe being the cutting edge for what to do when you are being assaulted and discriminated against in terms of, well, we are the favorite attack point of the people who want to see us fail as a nation, as a people, as individuals, and as a society. So, a couple of things that we can do, and I'm going to introduce you to a wonderful guest shortly, Miss Kimberly Johnson. She's former city council person in San Bernardino. She's been promoted to spokesperson for the poor, spokesperson for the folks that have been least served. She has probably done more good since she has left city council than she was able to do sitting at a dais with 6 others who were not necessarily trying to move forward. But this is what we find out. We find out that as individuals, we can be very, very influential and can be very authentic. So, being authentic, I want to ask you guys a question. Where does your house of worship deposit the Sunday collection on Monday? Say it again. Where does your house of worship deposit the Sunday collection on Monday? Does it make loans or otherwise support your worship center or members? And do your fellow members magnify that worship center deposit with their own individual deposits? Are you guys happy with your bank? Are you happy with the thousands of dollars that you put in that they don't let you get back necessarily? We can do something about that. You might want to talk with the pastor, talk with the deacon board. Say, hey, what are we doing with that money? I don't know. I mean, I don't have the total answer, but I know one thing, that if you look at it and count it and realize how important it is to you as you give it to them, you'll have a different look on your face when you realize that that's your money and they're being the steward of your money. And when you want to get some of it back to go do something to build up our community, you should be able to get some cooperation. It's part of the civilization that we are supposed to be living in. But meanwhile, sometimes they don't cooperate, and that's why we need to grow a garden. We need to be able to be in charge of a very important aspect of our lives, and that's food, and that's eating. Now, one of the great things about Miss Kimberly Johnson is the organization she's with. When you go visit her, she's able to give you some food to go home with. Fresh food from out of their garden. So they're not only growing food, they're growing minds, they're growing cooperation over here in the west side of San Bernardino with the Acoma Center. I'm going to introduce Kim to you right after this short break. We'll be right back. Well, I don't guess I should take the break right now. I'm just going to invite you to come sit up here. Yeah. Well, Eric, let's take a short break, and then we're going to come back, and I'll give Miss Kim a proper introduction. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen on the case for truth and justice. See you in a sec.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
I forgot to show you our podcast room. It was there. I want you to come and see that.
All right, we're back. And we're back ready to serve. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen, and I am with Miss Kimberly Johnson Calvin Allen. Are you related? No? Okay. All
Well,
right.
you have been knowing my family for many decades.
For many decades.
Many decades, probably at least 5.
Well, we could really tell the truth and say it's a couple hundred years, but we won't go that far because people don't believe that stuff. You know, they say you can't live that long. Well, my mother's living it. She's 99, and I'm going to show you her book in a
Amen,
little
yes.
bit. Ruthie's Jewels. But Miss Kim, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Brother Wallace. I'm
good.
doing great. How are you?
God is great. I'm extremely grateful, and it's wonderful to be here with you.
Absolutely.
I came over to your institution on a couple of days ago, and you had our congressman there.
We did.
But I was impressed again. Remember that you have a community garden.
Yes, we have 2 of them exactly.
Two gardens,
Yes,
and
we
I'm
do.
always telling people that you should be able to grow a little bit of something in a 5-gallon bucket in your backyard if necessary.
Well, you mentioned COVID, and that is exactly when we began to grow food because that first Thanksgiving, there wasn't many collard greens in the store.
Okay.
And so I said, this will never happen again.
Okay.
We're going to begin to grow our own food. But in 2018, Acoma Unity Center was granted a grant from the MAC Foundation, which stands for Make More Attractive Communities. And they funded us to be able to start that first garden that's right there in between Ann Sherrill's Park and Rio Vista Elementary School. And so we'll be forever grateful for the MAC Foundation. And on the MAC Foundation at that time, they have disbanded, was Frank Schnitz, Sam Catalano, and one of our former mayors. And so it's a wonderful group of people that had come together that wanted to make communities more attractive, and they selected us. And we brought $142,000 to the city of San Bernardino because that money needed to go to them in order so that we could beautify the area around us. We don't own that property. We do rent from the city of San Bernardino and have been renting from the city since 2016. And grateful for that opportunity as well. But it was essential that $142,000, something that you don't see many nonprofits do, giving back to the city as well, as when we oftentimes have asked for a permit or something of that nature. But $142,000 in 2018 was a lot of money.
Well, it would not be looked at sluggishly right now.
No, absolutely,
Come
absolutely.
to the table here.
Absolutely. So that was, we were able to pay for that beautiful mural on the side of the building, which pays homage to many wards, San Bernardino's West Side pioneers, like Bobby Vega Omega, our first Black councilwoman, Valerie Pope Ludlam, Frances Grice, John Griffin from Delman Heights, and then my very own aunt, Vivian Nash Dukes, and then also, of course, Dr. Ann Sherrills.
The idea of paying of the renter, investing into the property that they are renting, may seem a little strange, but you think about it and it makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense. It shows that we are vested.
Yes.
And we want to make sure that there's a lot of folks that I hear come to the dais and speak ill of nonprofits, but that is only because they have not taken the time to thoroughly seek out or research the nonprofits in the city who are actually doing a lot of work. And there are many, many, many nonprofits. That's one of the things that I tried to do while being on the dais, was to create a group of nonprofits that the city would be able to partner with. They would be able to vet and understand that funds that come from the federal government and from the state, when needed to be held accountable, there are some that are here and they're doing great work here. So when we get emergency funds for housing and of sort, we need to be able to bank on nonprofits that have been doing the work, and we can stand by those nonprofits. Twice I tried to do that. We failed. Well, I won't say I failed, but what I'll say is that two different city managers were able to hear from the nonprofits in our city who are already disseminating funds that they receive, like the great Miss Patricia Nichols, who has for decades been
Community service.
That's right, Community Action Partnership, who has been putting funds into the hands of local nonprofits so that they can disseminate to their community members in their areas. We can't rely on just one nonprofit to be able to do that. It's a lot of 227,000 people live in the city. But we need to pay homage to those nonprofits as well, because educating our scholars and providing for our seniors, providing for our veterans, providing for our disabled, providing for our unsheltered, providing for our people that are food scarcity. Not one nonprofit can do all of that work. And if the city of San Bernardino wanted to truly take evaluation, and they could then see what the city would look like if we did not have all of these wonderful nonprofits in the city.
And there are people who say that the work that you just described shouldn't be necessary, and that those folks should be doing it and handling their lives themselves. I opened the show with a statement about civilization and how we are supposed to take care of those around us who can't take care of themselves. I'm also a person who understands that resistance is a powerful thing, and if we can pay those people and situations that would naturally resist, be in the way, be not intentionally in the way, but in the way because they can't perform, we need to accommodate those people, demonstrating that we are civilized, for one thing, and number two, it helps the people who are able to get things done, get them done without our friends and loved ones who are unable to take care of themselves being in the way. Now, we have homeless situation that not only affects people who are mentally ill, but people who have tried, who've had jobs, who've been working and who have been put out of those jobs, veterans who have served their country. But can we have people who say, well, that's their fault. We closed down institutions that took care of these people. We have a federal government now that is cutting back consistently and constantly on programs and people who are doing the work that you're talking about. So the fact that these nonprofits are here, the benevolence that they provide, will need to have a source of resources beyond what we've got. The government is stepping away. The federal government is stepping away. What can we do? What should we do? How should we do it?
Right. Everything that you just said is absolutely correct, Brother Wallace. And that is the million-dollar question at the moment. And while many nonprofits that I have dear friends that have for many decades worked to serve the community and those who are less fortunate, they are right now at the brink of having to totally reassess their programs on how they're going to continue to serve. And I pray for those those programs every single day. Fortunately, I don't have to rely on a lot of federal government grants, and I try not to apply for those for specific reasons. Like these that we're in right now. So when we get to a time like this, and if your nonprofit is totally reliant upon federal governments, well, we can find ourselves in some particular precarious situations. What we have to do is stick together and continue to support each other as nonprofits, which a lot of the nonprofits that I work with, we do exactly that. So if there is something that I have, resources that I have, that Nakoma has, we're able to share. If there are resources that Arrowhead United Way with the CEO, Dr. Gwendolyn Dowdy Rogers has, she's able to share. If there are resources that Operation New Hope has, Russell Deegan, the CEO, is able to share. If there are resources that Miss Patricia Nichols has, they're able to share during this time, as we have had to do before. And that is really what's going to have to get us through at this time until we are on a more solid footing. But what it's also
those organizations are generating money from entrepreneurial activities, or am I wrong? So they are still depending at some level on someone else's benevolence. And how
all of our grants come from someone else's benevolence, another nonprofit's benevolence, or a philanthropist, somebody that believes and has those type of resources to share, and will continue to do that. And so we're very grateful for all those organizations, all those companies, and all those individuals who believe in the work of nonprofits, and particularly for me, believe in the work of nonprofits that are serving scholars. Our nonprofit serves scholars from the age of 6 up to 24. It is important that we don't always consider that when a youth turns 18, that they are self-sufficient and independent, when currently right now, if you were to drive through the majority of the fast food restaurants that we frequent, you're going to see people in there that are 30 years old and above.
Well, at $20 an hour, I'm about to go to my second job.
Go yours, me too, right? And those are typical jobs that used to be fast food, used to be just set apart for high school scholars and kids that were in college, young people that are in college, and it's just not that way any longer. And for whatever reason that may be, and that is something that we must look at, because if redevelopment has made this great change on the programs that are available to our youth so that they can be provided technical training, career training that can set their lives on a different trajectory, those organizations are one that, and those organizations that have those type of career and skill sets to be taught and trained for our young people, we must keep them going. We saw earlier in the year that Job Corps was going to be taking a hit from the federal government, and I do believe that the Job Corps that is in Muscoy is still operating and serving, maybe not on the same level with the amount of scholars or youth that they were able to serve in the past. But for those of us who do have funds, we should support until they are out of the situation that they're in, because those are youth that are grown up in our city, and those are youth who are looking for direction, and those the youth that we need to continue to make a pathway for.
Now we constantly talk about entrepreneurialism. We have programs for our youth. You have a school, basically a coma center.
It's a community
It's a
center.
community center, but it's a learning center.
It is a learning center, exactly, and we have just launched a Coma Learning Center, where we had to separate a Coma Community Center from the Learning Center because we had so many programs on the community center side, like our Golden Agers program, like our community garden, that we needed to separate so that we could have two sets of focus, because the Learning Center is teaching our youth, and then the community center is being open and providing resources to folks that are above the age of which we are contracted to serve.
Is there any focus at any point with our nonprofits to create income? Creating income is not creating profit necessarily. It is something that you can use for operations. It's something that can be used for stipends for our kids.
Absolutely.
And as we talk about starting businesses with our young people, some type of umbrella needs to be there to support that aspect of it. Have you seen anything of that sort taking place? Is there any plan to go in the direction
There
like
are
that?
multiple organizations that are focusing in on entrepreneurship, and definitely Entrepreneur High School in the city of San Bernardino, with a borderline Highland, they're doing the same thing. And at Acoma, we have a podcast room where our scholars are learning to be in front of the mic, behind the mic, operate the board, and also our largest program now is our automation and robotics program, where those scholars right now currently are being trained by a facilitator that works for Epson and has been working for Epson for nearly 30 years. And we're grateful to Epson too for their investment into our community, where these scholars are learning to acquire skill sets to enter into the workforce as coders, as programmers, and in the work of automation. As we know, there are now multiple robots that are inside of Amazon, and now we're going to need somebody to work those, to be able to repair those robots. And so that's what our scholars at Acoma are learning, not to necessarily go inside of any warehouse and become the one who has to pick the materials, but they are now being trained to program and create those robots that are actually
to work with AI,
to work with AI, to work with
artificial intelligence,
and to work with the
at
folks,
a
work with
much higher
the
level.
robots that are now inside of that sector. And it's important that they are learning this. And so while they can't be employed currently, but we have some that are approaching the age of 18, and a lot of scholars are finding that due to household dynamics aren't able to go directly to college. They may need to enter into a certificated program where they are able to use that certificate, become trained and use that certificate to be immediately able to add to the household's income. And we see that happening in a lot of older adults as well. Needing those certifications are becoming just as important as a diploma.
In some cases, more important. We find that many of the young people who've gone to college, graduating in computer science, find themselves competing with AI, and that the jobs that they thought would be there are not there. And that's a danger even now with the technical jobs that probably you are helping our young people learn there at the Coma Center.
And right now we do have a program where our scholars are being trained to be certified teen mental health first aid responders. And in that program, our scholars are receiving a stipend. And that's a wonderful thing. Mm-hmm. And whatever I have to use in order to get them to come into our building every Saturday and online every Thursday, participate in our civic engagement events, put on events that they have to be student led. I'm willing to do almost anything to make sure that I
Right.
can have the youth's ear and their minds so that we can definitely broaden those. And we see that happening. Just yesterday, we had 29 scholars throughout the entire city of San Bernardino that are coming there not just to receive a stipend, but teen mental health is something that is definitely what we need to be looking at. Suicide has been on the rise, depression, anxiety. These are actually COVID children, and now they're in their junior year, senior year, sophomore. Actually, the program starts at 12. But what I witnessed yesterday was, while sad, it was still wonderful because we were in a room with scholars from all over the city who were willing to open up about their emotional stability, their mental health, where they are currently with their mental health.
And these are students, high school students.
And some middle school students as well. Their ages 12 to 18.
So we're able to see some of the things that are affecting them, or hear them talk about some of the things that are affecting them. Some things that we as adults probably say, well, that's no big thing. You should be able to get past that.
Absolutely.
And understanding that we're standing next to folks who not necessarily have gotten past those types of things.
They have not.
Yes.
They have not, and they were so willing to open up yesterday and
Well,
to
I mean
share
the
that.
adults. I mean that.
Well, and then what happens is it triggers.
Yes.
It triggers the adults, and it allows the adults in the space who are co-facilitating the program to then deal with things that they have not quite gotten over themselves. And when children see adults become transparent and vulnerable in the same space, it gives them more opportunities to open up. And we're very fortunate to have Beauregard Therapy. Jonathan Beauregard, his company, he has multiple marriage and family counselors and youth counselors that we have contracted with him. And they're on the site. They're on campus at Acoma during the week and every Thursday online, and in the building on Saturdays with our scholars, because I'm not a trained professional in the area of mental health, so I need professionals in the room to be able to assist our scholars when they hit a trigger, when something in conversation or in the lesson triggers them and they need some assistance. While looking at it face on, it could be sad, but what I saw was healing taking place in the
Yeah, it could
room,
be,
and then that
yes.
made me very glad. Yes.
Yeah, once they open up, once we open up, once I open up, I find that I'm able to listen to others with a different attitude, and regardless of my intention, I end up being helpful simply by listening and paying attention to someone else's issue.
And that's what they're being trained to do. This
And
is a
somehow listening to other people's issue kind of strengthens my position, because in my case, I'm able to say, gosh, I guess I'm not as bad off as I thought I was.
Exactly, and that's what we share with them, that also they got to hear they're not alone.
Yes, they're not alone.
And this program is a nationally acclaimed program, Teen Mental Health Foundation, and they are also, our scholars will receive a certification. This will allow them to go onto their campus and be a peer leader.
Yes.
And this is what is important. Peers learn better from peers.
Right.
They learn more from their peers. And so once we are able to place several of them on each middle school, high school campus here in the city of San Bernardino, they will then become the ones who are facilitating the healing that needs to take place with our youth, so that we can have stronger, more well-equipped, more grounded youth in our city, to my hope, to lead our city.
Yeah, because they're youths now, in 3-4 years, they're not as youthful as they were. And those folks like you and I who have been helping are a little older as well.
Yep.
And we find that we are really training our future service, our future help,
We
with
have to.
compassion now.
We have to.
And if we show our compassion now, they will be in a position to show their compassion later. But if we don't show them how to have compassion, if we don't show them how to have passionate compassion, then we're going to be losing. And
Well,
this
that-
is where caring about our status as civilized group of people comes in.
And
This is-
we teach the scholars to also look at their parents in this way, because they don't often get to hear the stories of which their parents have come through, and how their parents may still be dealing with some childhood, young adulthood trauma as well. So we have to get them to, we have to train their ears to be able to hear that from their parents, their siblings, grandparents, aunts, uncles, to be able to understand that the stigma around mental health can be decreased, and hopefully we can wipe it away, so
Well-
that our youth will be able to understand that mental health is a part of you, and you
Helping
need to
people
be
feel
able to
good.
yes,
Helping
yes,
people feel
absolutely.
good.
And it's an extra benefit that they end up getting paid for being there at the program.
Well, the other extra benefit of helping people feel good is that you are not allowing them to feel bad in your presence, which can trigger all types of non-civilized activity on their part. If you see someone who has, I guess the whole point of we want to feed kids when they get to school, because it puts them in a better mood and attitude than if
To
they
learn,
are
yes.
if they're hungry.
Yes.
Because if you're hungry, you're not only are you not ready to learn, you are probably a little angry. And that anger leads into many other things. There's much benefit to accommodating other people's feelings, especially when we are trying to make progress.
Yeah, you made a very good point about connecting hunger with the inability to learn. And when working with children, it's not rocket science. It really is just us taking an approach of, how did you feel when you were a youth? Did you ever feel misunderstood? Did you ever feel that no one was listening? Did you ever feel, was there ever something going on?
Yeah, but I came out okay. But I'm a little crazy. I'm a little crazy now and then, but I came out okay. You know, I might slap my wife around now and then, but I told her she should take those karate lessons, But
we pretty much came out okay. But
Yeah,
there are odds, right?
But the okay isn't necessarily.
That's right.
It isn't necessarily
And
well.
it-
It just
it-
means we can stand up and maybe go through some of the basic shenanigan that's required to survive. But
that's a good-
thriving is what we are seeking to do if we want to classify ourselves as civilized. And we do. We want to be civilized.
And we want them to thrive.
And
I want all scholars, I want all the youth in the city of San Bernardino to thrive. And being on the dais and now being, back in my seat full time as a CEO of Acoma Unity Center and grandmother, it's difficult for youth in the city of San Bernardino to thrive. We take scholars on a tour of the city, and we call it our photo voice tour. And we ask scholars to take pictures of what they see throughout the city and then put their voice to the photo. Because we need for them to look through, we need to be able to look through their lenses and
Yes.
to be able to assist them.
And
We
give them
can't
a
just
platform
continue
to-
to project.
to say what they see.
Exactly.
To explain what they anticipate their future to be.
And knowing that there are folks listening who value what they say is also just as important. They need to know that you value what they say, which is why I created, while on the dais and was able to get my colleagues to approve, a youth council. San Bernardino City Unified School District has a youth council. San Bernardino City did not. So we did. We had it for 1 year. It is not running at the moment, which saddens me, because I know for a fact that they are our future. And they need to be able to understand how their city government works. They need to feel that the dais wants to hear how they feel while walking to school and seeing unsheltered folks on the streets. They need the dais to hear how they feel with living in their car, with living in a park.
Well, I agree with you that they need to have someone hear those things that has power to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
And their parents,
Yep.
their community,
Yep.
their listening audience, if they have a platform, is who they can talk to.
And which is why Acoma stands in that place to be able to make sure that as many as we can reach and listen to, and to give that verification that validation that we are listening and that we do hear you. We're going to continue to do that work to make sure that the youth in this city know we're listening, we hear you, we see you, and we are trying our best to make sure that you are understood and have what you need in order to have a successful future.
Well, I would love to have them make their report from Empire Talks Back at least once a month.
There you go. I can make that happen very easily. Yeah. We actually do. We've gone to the school district. We've gone to the school board with Acoma Scholars multiple times. We're preparing to go to the school board next month, and then city council the month after that, because we train them to not only have something to say, but be able to relate that effectively.
I think that's critical, and I think that when they find that sometimes the audience that they want to have hear what they have to say is best delivered not directly to them, but delivered to an alliance of people who, with their numbers, change the whole attitude about the report. So your report from your 10 kids has much more meaning when that report is amplified by an audience of 1,000 people who said, "Oh, I heard those kids, and they're absolutely right." And 1,000 people showing up at the dais, especially since there's only room for maybe 400, has a big impression. And our young people need to understand that they don't have to necessarily do a rock album or a rap album to be heard.
Well,
I know that you are there on it, and I'm simply offering whatever
I would love to bring them
platform that we have and audience that we have to be part of that.
And we'd love for you to come to back to Acoma and listen to them on their Acoma Speaks podcast, which we launched in February. And the reason why we titled it is really clear and simple: Acoma Speaks. And Acoma are the scholars and every community member that comes through the door. And we're getting them prepared to be able to come sit right here with you, because it's important that they know that they have a voice, in whichever way we can amplify that at Acoma Unity Center. That is what we will continue to do.
Well, we are happy to amplify their voices with our microphone right here at KCAA Radio. Empire Talks Back, without a doubt.
I appreciate the invitation.
And I'll volunteer Eric in there to help out a little bit.
All right,
too.
Eric, you got it. They're ready too. Our youngest scholars right now that are behind the mic are 8, 9, and 10-year-olds. And so they were yesterday preparing for a podcast that they're going to be launching in 2 weeks, and it was Good Snacks versus Bad Snacks. I do too. Love that one. Good snacks versus bad snacks. They've also done one on a TikTok ban, and so there are issues of which they are, that are relatable to them, that they can speak on, and we're happy to come on.
Let's talk about your garden real quick.
Yes.
How much are you growing with the garden? How many people are participating with the gardening? What do you do with the food that you grow? Is there extra food that you grow?
So thank you for that question. We've had our garden now about 5 years, and we're growing in the 2 locations. I don't have the number of how many pounds we're putting out every week. I apologize for that. But we have 2 wonderful master gardeners, Mr. Kevin Head and Lynn Summers, who is also helping us. We began to raise food, to grow food with our hydroponic towers inside our building several years ago, before we started putting seeds in the ground. And now we are growing pumpkins, cantaloupes, watermelons, all type of onions, all type of chilies, collard greens, kale. I don't think we've ever done spinach. I haven't seen spinach, but we have done carrots, sweet potatoes, all type of herbs. So basil, rosemary, mint.
So you've got all of that growing.
We've got all of that growing. Every Tuesday is Harvest Day. We do that for our Golden Agers Club. That's there. They meet every Tuesday at 10 o'clock for those who would like to join. And they get to go home with a bundle of fresh fruits and vegetables. We do have fruit trees as well. And then every Saturday, we harvest and we give away food to our parents that come in with their scholars. So every time I have a guest at Acoma, I try to give something away because it's very important that folks know we are growing food here at Acoma. We ask for anybody who wants to put in a little sweat equity.
Okay.
They're welcome to come and put their hands into the earth. On any day of the week, Mr. Kevin is there.
Now you say master gardeners.
Yeah, we have two master gardeners, Miss Lynn
What
Summers.
is their master gardening experience?
Well, that is a
qualifies them for
18-week
that?
program, I believe, that the UC system puts on, and they're able to go through that program. And then we have garden interns right now, multiple garden interns, and some are receiving a stipend because we did receive a grant a year and a half ago from IERCD, and that's our job mainly, is to grow food, and that we were really blessed to be able to receive that $60,000 grant. Right now, we're getting ready to do.
Are they expecting you guys at some point to try to become self-sustaining?
Ooh, that would take a lot of food to be able to grow, and maybe even more land than what I have as well, but not sure. But it always is the end goal, is to make sure. So we're grateful that we're able to go outside on any given day. I don't have to buy squash or zucchini, I left that out, or tomatoes. I can go into the garden every single day if I choose to make a salad to eat there at work or to take home and make some great salsa, all type of things. And so that's one of the benefits. And so our scholars, we have a nature-based learning program. Those scholars meet every Saturday as well. They meet outside right now with the weather being nice in front of the garden, and they are planting their own seeds. And these are young, little people. Our smallest of folks are 6 and 7
So
year
they
olds.
get to see that cycle begin. Yes.
And they're measuring their plant every single week to see how tall it's growing, and then putting it into the ground, growing it first into a cup, and then putting it into the ground. That's the way of which these scholars will understand sustainability at its best.
Well, being that growing food is not only a way to eat regular, it is the way that as a nation we grew into our economy. And selling food is a legitimate thing to do. I think that we are going to be able to help your entrepreneurial concept over there with the garden.
Absolutely.
When you say more land, I've been begging for land for years. Not so much that I'm going to use it, but that we accommodate people's needs for food. In our backyards, we can grow food in our backyards, but most of us are not master gardeners. Most of us are not really able to go out and do the work, but we've got the land. I don't know if you've thought about it or considering using other people's yards, but as you look at the potential here, that might be something that...
Well, we're trying to grow more master gardeners as well. So 2 of our interns are going to be taking the master gardening class. And so that way we can create more master gardeners, because you
And
definitely...
where does that class take place?
I believe at UCR, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And this way we have folks who are continuously and reinvesting into Mother Earth and willing to teach our youth and others on how to grow food.
I would I don't know if that's a program for young, energetic people, or if we say.
Well, look,
Master Garden.
I go out there for a minute, and I just kind of check on everything, and every now and then I can put a tool to the soil, but that's probably that's about my limit. But we do have folks, anybody that's interested in becoming a master gardener, please call Acoma Unity Center at 909-217-7956. Our master gardeners can put you in connection with where you would need to get sign up for the classes.
Yeah, we'd like to know the qualifications there, because if
Qualifications are just you wanting to educate
I don't
more
have to
people.
be able to go out there and dig an acre up with my shovel.
I don't know about an acre, but you might have to do a little digging, and so I won't
Okay.
say that you won't have to do any, but the knowledge is going to be all here, and then we do have to put toil the land a little bit.
We do have to put that shovel in the
Yeah,
ground.
you do got to got to toil the land a little bit.
Well, see, I'm agreeing with all of that part. I'm just saying, can we do it in a 5-gallon bucket?
Yes, sir, you can. And we do have scholars and who grow food in buckets. And we've given away those buckets too on our Earth Day. We have a pretty huge Earth Day at Acoma every single year. I think we're in our maybe our 7th annual Earth Day. And so we give away trees. We partner with any organizations that are the tree people that give away trees, and our community can come in and get fruit trees. Matter of fact, someone sent us a picture about 2 weeks ago of their tree that they got from our Earth Day 3 years ago that is bearing fruit. So we're excited about things like that, our investment into the community.
To understand that we have nurseries that do what you're doing for money. And if you don't charge something, you're competing with those nurseries in a capitalistic system, and you don't have to charge money. Maybe you can charge some volunteerism, but we're going to continue to talk about that. This is Quickest Hour on Radio. Ms. Kimberly, we appreciate you so much for the work that you do. We appreciate that you came in today to share it.
Thank
and
you
we
for
are
having me.
anticipating our youth report on a regular basis, and I'll have to get over there and do my part to
There you go. Come on over
get
to
that
Acoma.
get that going. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. I want to thank you for hanging out with us today. Mood Master, as usual. I forget you're there because I'm leaning on your music, so I can depend on it. It's
It
so
was nice.
solid.
It's
It's really
nice.
there. We appreciate
Yes.
you, my friend. Eric, God bless you. Thank you for your work. We will see you next week under 2 circumstances. 1, if the good Lord's willing. 2, if the creek don't rise. God bless you. See you then.
Thank you.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda.